Scrappy friends, and a big welcome to my channel today. Today's share is my take on the mixed media challenge for October for Scrap the Boys. Right at the beginning I showed you our sponsor for the month, which is Tandy Art. Her artwork is the cutest. I love it. I'm definitely going to have to head over to the store myself and pick some up. It's so cute. But she does have a prize for the, winner of the challenge this month, or for someone that the design team chooses. So make sure you go check her out. I'll make sure I link to her below as well. But as you can see, mixed media, and I really tried to get a few different media and things onto my page for this month, especially so this is where I'm happiest, when my hands are dirty. But there are lots of people out there that are not particularly confident with mixed media, or really kind of have makes you a bit nervous, or you don't like the mess, or there are lots of different reasons why people can struggle with it. But I thought I would get on as many different techniques as I could for you today. I've started with a piece of white texture cardstock that I have used clear gesso on. Then I have gone in with some black stamping. I've used my Versamark, no, not my Versamark, my Versafine black ink, and a stamp by Tim Holtz. Now, if you've never used the Versafine ink, it does take quite a while for it to dry. It is the type of ink that it is. You can heat emboss with it. You saw me grab my heat tool out to try and dry it off, but I didn't want to stand there forever waiting for it to dry. The ink takes a bit longer to dry on gesso than it would on plain paper. So I ended up grabbing my clear embossing powder and dumping that on top of my stamping, and then heat embossing, which does two things. Obviously, it embosses and gives that shiny look and creates a kind of resist when I'm going in with my mixed media here. But also it locks the stamping in place, and it's not going to move. And I know it is 100% dry, so I don't have to sit around and wait for it to dry for too long. So once I did that at the top, I did the same down the bottom, and I'm going in with Distress Oxide ink pads here. I've used 4 colours. I've used Twisted Citron, Prize Ribbon, Peacock Feathers, and I can't remember. I'm sure I'll work it out in a minute. And you can see I am literally just rubbing the side of my ink pad onto my background here, adding some water and letting the colour move. You saw just there that I got some ink where I didn't want it. This is one of the good things about using gesso. You can normally re-wet it, and then you can lift it up off the page, and you're not left with ink and stuff where you don't want it. The photos that I'm scrapbooking today are from my boys' Crazy Sock Day at School, which was yet another fundraiser for school camp for the year 6s for this year. So we kind of went, we did lots of things to help with fundraising for this year, since our child is in year 6 and going on school camp. So my boys definitely participated. I don't know how well you saw the photos at the beginning, but they both decided they were going to wear different socks, so 2 different socks. And my youngest ended up going with one long sock and one short sock. But the colours that I've used for my background, I have pulled pretty much directly from the socks they're wearing. Their uniform is like a royal blue, and one of my boys is wearing their house shirt, so that greeny colour. And so I was like, that's the colours I'm going to go with. But there is also pops of like lime green and yellow on both of their socks. So I thought I would pull in some fluoro chalk paint here, so another media. You saw I did some doodling with the yellow, and then I decided I was going to add in some green. You can see I'm just smushing that down and then splattering it around. I really love this extra, I guess, extra medium. It is a paint, so it is an acrylic paint. So once it's dry, which is fantastic. I do think though that because it is the chalk paint, if I was to re-wet this or try and wipe it up, it will probably smudge. So make sure if you're using this kind of stuff that you are aware of how it works and reacts to water and all that kind of stuff. These are the same paint pens that I use on my chalkboard for my kids when they go to school. Giving you a close-up here, so you could see the shine of the embossing and then all that fun detail. I'm going in with a bit more stamping with my VersaFine ink here, and you can see I'm just adding little bits here and there. I'm not trying to get the whole image down. I don't even want you to see that it's letters. Just adding a bit more texture, and this page actually ends up reasonably flat, but with all those different textures in the background, it makes it look more dimensional. It's quite interesting to look at as well. I pulled out an ephemera pack from Uniquely Creative. I've got the ephemera pack and the 6x6 paper pad. I've pulled out a few papers that I think are going to work here, and I wanted the close-up of my boys' socked feet as the main focus. So that one is popped up on some foam. You saw I just took the other one off foam, and both photos have got some white tissue paper layered behind them. Just checking how straight that is, because I'm like, I don't think that's straight, anywhere near straight. So just making that a little bit neater, and then I have to stress the edges. Trying to decide if I want to add another layer behind my photos here. And I do like this white with the grey stars, and you can see I tear a big chunk and I try to add this on. I'm like, yeah, the edges are a bit too square. I'm like, that's alright. So then I kind of go in and tear to more of a point. And I'm like, that's better, but I still don't love it. So let's tear a bit more. And I'm like, I don't know, try it this way. Nah. Alright, let's tear it in half. I don't know, I just wasn't loving this. And so then I pulled the paper out and I just kind of twisted a little bit, and it almost, oh no, I'm still trying this, still trying. There you go. Almost ends up like wonky, regularish photo mats, but I like the inconsistency of it, how it is torn and not straight. Then I decided I wanted to add the same paper layers down to the bottom here. So this is another element of the mixed media stuff. It's got the torn edges, the pattern paper. I'm just going to add that in layers down here. And you can see I'm just tearing those pieces for down the bottom. Just going to muck around with those for a little while, jump forward. I'm going to add some of this cheesecloth behind my photo. I always have a hard time with this. I've tried to follow Sue Plum's instructions, but I'm just not Sue. Yeah. So I get some onto my background here. I end up trimming it down and mucking around with it for a bit longer. Pull in a few threads down here. I'm like, this isn't working. Cut some more. Then I just pretty much just shove it in wherever I think it needs to go. Add a little bit down the bottom here as well. And I just kind of mush it in between my layers, add some glue, and let that dry. I'm going to trim off the excess here. So I'm pretty sure my photos are stuck down. And then I've gone through the ephemera now. I do pull out the 2 dragonflies that are in this ephemera pack. I picked the dragonflies because that is like our school animal symbol thingy. So I was like, they are perfect. So one goes up to the top, one goes down to the bottom. I've got this little tab. It says 100% awesome. And I'm going to pop that up on a little bit of foam and put that on my square photo. Like I said, I did want to highlight that photo just a little bit more. And then I'm going to use these stickers for my title. You know, it is another texture, so it's got the glitter and the foam. You can see I'm going to try and add my title down here with not alternating, but crazy letters. And I end up moving it up to the top here, and it doesn't end up in the first place I put it, so I don't make you watch me move it. But it ends up kind of under the photos like this. So we've got Crazy Sock Day 2021. It is a bit tricky to read on the screen, but again, in real life it's not hard to read at all. I've put down the bottom J and H, and then I've used some of the little dots just to add a little bit of extra on that diagonal from the top left down to the bottom right of my page. I don't think that I add, oh yes I do, I add my tag to the right hand side to add my journaling. I do try to add it in a few places, but first I'm just going to snip the corners off to get my symmetrical tag, punch my hole, and I'm going to try it in a couple of different places. I really like it here, but I'm like, it's too long. Cut it down a bit. I did cut it a little bit shorter than I wanted to, so I do cut out this other tag, and I just use the top half of it. This is from the Choose Your Own Adventure, I think. And you can see I've added that just into that gap there. Added my journaling. And I'm going to add some twine to those tags. I've got like a tealy colour twine. I'm going to twist that up. So that is another texture for mixed media. I'm going to glue those in place. So they're glued down now. And you saw me right at the last thing then put my Tim Holtz stamp press thingy on top of it to flatten it out a little bit. Here are all my close-ups. I really love the way the mixed media in this turned out. It was super, super fun to create. I'll make sure I leave a link to everything in the description box below. Make sure you check out the blog for everyone else's amazing design team shares. There's lots and lots of ideas on mixed media for you there. Can't wait to see what you create. As always, thank you so, so much for stopping by and choosing to share your scrappy time with me, and I shall see you in my next video. Have a fantastic scrappy day.